Hello and welcome to the Week 6 recap. Uh, just a quick message before we begin. Uh, as we're coming up to the last week, well, we've basically are in the last week. Most of your games have been played. A reminder that if you're not one of the people that's heading into the play-ins, then you need to let me know what you're planning to do. Just send me a message if you haven't already, saying either you want to stick with your same team, re-roll into a fresh team, or sit out for the rest of the season. Um, and remember, if you do decide to reroll or stick with the same team, you can still reroll at the end if you want to. So there's no harm in rerolling and seeing for the 5 games if you feel like it. Um, Either just to practice for the greenhorn or to see if you can get some lucky level ups for next season. But without further ado, let's get into the games. So I'll start off with the Damn Yankees versus the Chicago Ghoul Bears. So we join the undead team late in their first half. It's turn 8, so they've got to score this turn. For the Dark Elves, they managed to put up a pretty good screen. There have been a few removals and a dead lineman, and MNG'd Ghoul and some KOs. But the Ghoul's got to do something dodgy to get through, namely dodge. He uses the reroll on the first dodge, but the second dodge has to use the team reroll, but he gets through, despite having to make some cognitive fires. And that is 1-0 to the undead team. So we rejoin in turn 9 of, so first turn of the undead in the second half. They've still got the wizard, and it looks like Trunkhead's going for a quick score. Lightning bolt works. I think there must have been a little bit of a mistake in lightning bolt because it still left it being a 4+ dodge in. Maybe they miscounted the tackle zones and didn't realise that it would still be a 4+ in. Who knows? But they still go for it, and they get the pow. Meaning, oh, and kills the blitzer at the same time. Afro saves him to minus MA, but that's still a permanent injury. And the ball goes loose, and he dodges and picks it up. And he's still got the movement because he's plus movement to get away from it. Still has the reroll at this point, so he can GFI away. And now zombies can get around to make this relatively safe. So yeah, that's a pretty insane steal. Chunkhead's got to be pretty sad about that, seeing as it was a 4+ dodge in. He had to get the POW, then he does a 3+ dodge out to pick it up as well. And now the Dark Elves can't really do anything. The ball is stuck away. They're all in the undead half, whereas the undead are mainly in the Dark Elves half. And that is how the second half started. The Dark Elves managed to briefly get the ball back, but it was a kind of a mess going on in the centre. Big brawl as everyone got into base-to-base contact, and that KO means the Dark Elves drop the ball again, and it's open for the undead team to try and mark it up with the mummy. Which they do. And now Dark Elves are running out of players with 4 off the pitch, and it's getting hard to free up players to be able to grab this ball and run away with it. They do manage to get it, but with the place that this position's in, it's hard for them to get anywhere safe. So for basing and then assuming blitzing to get this goal off, yes. And that leaves them a little bit safe. There are at least a few players in between them and the undead team. But that double skulls, looking a bit scary. You got rid of an on-goal there, though. And it's starting to look a little bit safe for the Dark Elves to at least have the ball. They might have some struggle getting back up the pitch to score, though, as they're running out of time. So the undead managed to get a hit on the bull carrier, but only got a push and both down. And a snake dodge, first action from the witch elf, means the dark elves are back in deep trouble, with very few players left standing and some blocks on the ball. So Mummy gets in position to assist. And he gets the POW. And the stun. Leaving very little room for the Dark Elves to even try to get back in this game now. Next turn, a little dodging blitz from the Wrestle Witch Elf. They do manage to get the ball down. However, it's not in a great position for them. But the plus strength blitzer frees up a little path for this guy to come through. They do manage to recover the ball, but there is very few places that this can go. Decides to give it back to this dodge witch elf, but the scoring threat gets stunned, and that means it's very unlikely that the dark elf is going to be able to score. Straight power, straight on the witch elf. First action. She's removed. Bull goes free. And now it's looking even worse for the the dark elves. They're slowly getting down to basically only these 4 players that are relevant. Actually, no, 5 players. This guy's stunned and probably won't be able to do anything. Maybe become a scoring threat on the last turn. But the ghoul dodges out. And there's hardly any room for the dark elves to try and get around. Plus strength blitz is probably the best bet to come around. The others are all too tied up in tackle zones or have not enough movement like this wrestle guy. And he decides not to take the block there so that the witch elf doesn't get pushed closer. Yep. Dark elves push them onto the ball to try and scatter it, get a better place. Although they do, so it's only 1 tackle zone now. Ooh. Going for dodging out with the witch elf, I'm assuming so they can give it to the plus strength blitzer and try and run away with it. But the pickup fails, and that means that the Dark Elves have lost because this guy's not in scoring position, and they're 1-0 down. And it just leaves the the undead to clear off the ball and try and pick it up. Which they do relatively easily because they've got so many players' advantage now. And plus movement white picks it up and scores the touchdown for 2-0. So there we have it. 2-0 to the undead team. And looking at their team, Ringbeard leveled up to get Wrestle, but he's still MNG'd. And the rest of the team is looking good. Plus movement white's getting closer to the level. So you can see he got quite a bit of SPP in that game. Yeah, team's looking good. Hardly any SPP on the zombies and the skeletons, which is great. You always want your MVPs to be going to your positionals, and that seems what's been happening. So they're looking in a good position. Moving on to the Dark Elves, they've slightly worse than they were because of the minus movement to the Blitzer. You probably keep him for at least for the moment until you have the money to replace him, because with Blodge he's still fairly good. But it's a bit of a shame since he was getting close to the second level, which would have been nice. Wrestle Witch Elf is getting very close to leveling, and Captain America could also get an MVP to level. But yeah, team's still looking strong. They are a little bit low on cash, so they might not be able to replace that Blitzer for quite a while. But yeah, still a decent looking team. With the Mighty Blow and the plus strength, you're still happy with that. The Testy Deans versus a Fistful of Zeros were the next up game. So this was a fairly back and forth game between the two teams. Not a huge amount of armor breaks, and Only 2 KOs on either side and 1 injury inflicted by the Amazons. So, pretty bloodless game, despite Amazons having a Mighty Blow tackle player. You would have thought there might have been a bit more, especially with the 51 blocks that they did. You would have thought potentially they would have been able to do a bit more damage. But they didn't. So, Wood Elves managed to score on their half. Not not too not too bad. There was a bit of back and forth. Amazons getting in the way quite a lot, but they managed to pull it out in the end. And then similar on the Amazons half. Wood Elves managed to put up a decent screen for most of the time. The Amazons sort of inched closer and closer towards the end. They did have to get a couple of powers in the last turn to be able to clear the way, but they managed it and got in the 1-1. Wood Elves tried to do a one turn. They got a quick snap, but their first block was a knockdown, as they couldn't get the required pushes to get them to do the one turn. So let's have a quick look at the teams. So the Amazons are still in a good place. They've kept a hold of their movement 5 line women, but they've still got 10 of guard. They've got 5 guard. They've got the Mighty Blow tackle. They've got their plus strength player. Got a dirty player who didn't do very much in the match. I think they got sent off on the first foul that they tried to do. And they've got a thrower and a catcher now. I think the thrower might be new. I can't remember exactly, but I have a feeling the thrower might have been a new player that game. They still got 70k in the bank, but you've got 13 players at this point, so you might want to. You could consider getting rid of the minus movement players, or at least the one which hasn't leveled up at all, and replacing them. Or you could hold on to the cash in case one of the positionals needs to get recycled. But yeah, still in a strong position. Then moving on to the Wood Elves. Wood Elves are looking good. They've got 3 guard now, which is pretty great. So the catcher leveled up and got guard. A lineman leveled up and got guard. And having a lot of guard on Wood Elves is really nice. It's one of those skills which you can't really get with Dark Elves and with Wood Elves even, unless it's a double. So, or if you've got a tree. But having a movable guard is really nice because you're normally struggling to get the blocks in because other teams will have guard. But when you do have guard yourself, it becomes much nicer. Yeah, plus strength War Dancer is continuing to be going strong. The other War Dancer hasn't really done a huge amount with their sidestep. They've sort of just been hanging around on 8 SPP for a while. Maybe want to level them up to maybe get like something like Strip Ball or Tackle on them as well, so they can have a bit more of an impact as well. But yeah, still a really strong looking team. 160k in the bank. They've bought a 4th reroll, which is interesting. Normally you only see 3 rerolls on Wood Elves, but I don't mind the 4th reroll. I've been considering going up to buying a 3rd reroll on my team because I've also got a leader, so that would potentially be a 4th reroll. But I think with 160k in the bank, now is probably the time to buy a tree. You could instead buy another catcher. That's another good option as well, or maybe a thrower. But I think a thrower is not as needed as much, especially if you've already got the rerolls. So yeah, I think probably it's time to get a tree. But yeah, good team. I can't wait to see how they develop further. So then we have Totally Acting Up versus the Gorgothal Greys. So another 1-1 draw, where I believe both teams scored in their own half. Quite a few injuries inflicted in this game compared to the last one. Chorf managed to inflict 4, and Undead managed to inflict 2. The only permanent injury, though, was a niggle on a zombie. A zombie which was claimed from the Wood Elf team, because their name was 004. But we've got White leveled up when he got the MVP. Peter Cushing leveled up, and he got himself Mighty Blow. Bull Center also leveled up from getting MVP and I believe a touchdown. Yep. He got himself Block. Pretty standard choice there. And also a Werewolf and a Blocker leveled up. So let's have a quick look at the teams. So the Chorf team, the blocker that leveled up, I believe, is one that got Mighty Blow. Oh no, sorry, I'm wrong about that. RD Silver leveled up and got Guard, so that's an extra guard, which is very useful. Both Bull Centaurs have block now, which is also great. Probably looking for break tackle next, so they can get a bit more movable. Still got the Blodge Hobgoblin as a nice bull carrier, and now that they've started to get guard as well, it's much easier for the Chorfs to get blocks, and so it's much easier to start killing things. So they're in a really good position. Yeah, they could do with a nice little piling on that claw mighty blow, or potentially getting a couple more claws, or a couple more guards, or some more mighty blow. You always want more blocker levels, really. But yeah, really starting to look like a really good team. Got 70k in the bank. They might want to consider at this point to get the 12th player, because then you can start doing some fouling, or you don't have to worry so much about hobgoblins dying. So that's nice. Then moving on to the necromantic team. So the werewolf that leveled up got tackle. Unfortunately, no doubles or stats that really make the werewolves come alive have happened yet. But tackle's not that bad. Both whites have got mighty blow, which is good. The team's slightly lacking on guard, which will make it a little bit hard to get the blocks in that you need. But the whites are getting close to leveling up again. That flesh golem with the only block, one permanent, is also getting close to getting another level up. And he'd probably take guard unless he rolls something interesting. So yeah, looking like a good team. Unfortunately, the dirty player zombie has taken quite a lot of the, the SPP with 14 SPP there. Probably got a couple of MVPs in there. And the Bill Paxton 2 has only managed to make a pass after he died. I think it was last week. But yeah, still looking good. Probably needs a little bit more guards to be able to really deal with the more bashy teams. But they're probably doing very well against agility teams as it is. And yeah, looking good. Yeah, you just got to hope that you roll something interesting on your werewolves soon. Otherwise, it's one of those weird things where werewolves are a pretty good piece, like a pretty good player. But when they roll a double or a stat, they just become much more amazing. And so you are a little bit sad when they don't. But still a solid team. You can still do quite a lot with werewolves that roll normals. And then moving on to our last match. And the halflings managed to take a win. Quite rare for halflings to manage to win, but with Nurgle being one of the worst early game teams, because they just lack the rerolls, lack the skills. They really can deal with halflings because they have hardly any block, hardly any tackle. So things can kind of run around where they want. So it is one of the best opportunities for halflings to take a game. But let's jump into the game and see how they did it. So we join this game late in the first half. Nurgle are getting very close to scoring. And at the moment, only one halfling is in range. There we go. A nice little halfling throw. Oh. Is just about enough. Although he didn't fail the landing. Although he did fail the landing. Not breaking armor meant that he could still get in range to assist. That's a great thing for Drunken to recognise that he could get the assist there. And the ball is down. And with that, Amosep had to make a blitz and a pickup to score. Without the rerolls. They had no rerolls at all, just because of the chef. And he gets the pushes. But unfortunately for Amosep, no touchdown. Second half again saw Amosep with 0 rerolls, and Amosep manages to recover the ball after a lot of halflings get cast and a tree. But Deep Root makes a dodge to take the ball down. And that is a very nice place for it to land. Halflings can just grab it. Unfortunately, halfling agility not that great, but they can run away. And they've still got a chance to score with just 3 players left on the field. Though that stun makes it going to make it difficult. Unfortunately for Amosep, 2 failed pickups to try and recover the ball and get it down the field, so the Nurgle scoring threat, Nurgle Warrior scoring threat, is not enough. And that just leaves a 3+, 4+, 3+, for the halflings to score, which they manage and take the victory. So, halflings managed to take the win thanks to a very helpful chef there, managing to take basically all of Amasep's rerolls. The team did suffer a little bit, so we got some M&Gs on the block guy and some other halflings, and one halfling also died that we can't say here. But Bungo Peason did level up and got Hail Mary Pass, so the Hail Mary Pass is back, and the team's looking not too bad for halflings. So moving on to Amasep's Nurgle. They didn't have anyone die, but they did manage to also level up Christoph Roland, who manages to get guard, which is very nice. Guard is kind of one of those things that Nurgle really struggle against bash teams early on because they don't have any, and they don't have any block and stuff. So getting your first guard is really important. Helps set up all those plays that you want to get done. He has also got the third reroll now. I can't remember. I'm not sure if he had it for the game, but I think he might have bought it after the game. So now I've got 3 Pestigores, all the warriors, Beast Nurgle, and 3 rerolls. So you're only really missing the 4th Pestigore, which some people don't like to have, just because it means you have to place one of your positionals on the line if you want to put all of your positionals in. And then people don't like having one of the positionals off the field. Though with a plus strength Beast Nurgle, you're probably fine with having him on the line, unless it's a particularly clawy team. But then he also might want to focus on leveling up the Pestigores he's got at the moment before he takes on another one. And he's only got 40k at the moment, so it won't be until probably next game or a little bit after until he has enough money to get the 4th one. And there we have it. That's all the games for this week. Looking at the scoreboard, we've got the Amazons up at the top. They are pretty unassailable, and they're going to get through into the play-ins. But the Wood Elves and the Undead are battling it out for 2nd place, and in theory, I guess the Nurgle also could get there if they win and the Undead don't win and the Wood Elves lose, then the Nurgle could also be a challenger. Though Nurgle have got a tough matchup against the Chorfs. Wood Elves are going up against the Undead, actually. So Wood Elves versus Undead being a nice sort of way of saying that. So in theory, I guess if Wood Elves win, then they're through. If Undead win, then they are through. If it's a draw, then actually Wood Elves go through, don't they? So no, it doesn't look like the Nurgle can actually get through. Unfortunately for Hamasep. So it'll either be Wood Elves or Undead taking the 2nd place spot for the play-ins. But don't forget there is also the best 2 3rd place players teams also get a spot. I have no idea if it's possible for any of the people in this division to get that. I think it's quite likely that it's possible. Having a look at what the positions are now, maybe it's not actually. I don't know. I think a couple of people have got 12 points in 2nd place, and I'm not sure if we're gonna. In 3rd place, and I'm not sure if we're gonna have anyone with 12 points in 3rd place, because Hamasep's gonna have 11 if he wins, and that'll be in 3rd place, and then yeah. So I think unfortunately no best 3rd place teams are coming in. But so Amazons and either Wood Elves or Undeads go through. Everyone else, don't worry, you've still got more Blood Bowl to play. Though you do have a week break in between week 7. And starting off, so you've got basically week 8 of everyone else's season. You've got a little break where you can decide whether you want to continue or not. Don't forget to send me a message to let me know, because if we don't hear anything from you, we will automatically assume that you are sitting out and don't want to play, I think you have until the 1st of March, if I'm right, to tell us what you want to do. Um, Let me just double check that. Uh, yes. So 6 UTC, 6 a.m. UTC on Sunday the 1st of March is the deadline. If you don't tell me before then that basically means you will be sitting out the rest of the season, apart from the top two, because the top two automatically go into play-ins. You don't get a choice. You can't drop out because basically you agreed to do that. So don't worry, Mr. Leibniz and whoever wins out of Waleed and Zoglug, because you don't need to tell me. But everyone else, I think I've already had messages from about half of you. I think Troghead and whoever comes third out of Zoglug and Waleed, or whoever doesn't qualify out of Zoglug and Waleed. I think I haven't heard from you, but I think I've heard from everyone else. Uh, yes. But good luck with your last games, and we'll see you for week 7 next time.